Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sandra Lanch podcast. Today, we have fully finished Oathbringer. We read the epilogue and the end note, and then, Ars Arcanum type stuff. So we wrapped up the very end of that book. And then after we discuss that, we are going to take the Radiant quiz from Brandon's website. If you have not taken that, you can just Google Radiant quiz, Stormlight, something like that, and you'll find it. But I will also have the link in the description for this episode to that section of Brandon's website if you want to take the quiz along with us. So I'm Data, and with me today is
Jack,
Jamie,
and Joe.
So hang on to something, everybody. Sandra Lanch is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the fallen rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So yeah, just one chapter this week, but kind of an interesting one, I think. What did you guys think of the epilogue, the end of Oathbringer?
I mean, I guess the previous books have sort of set an expectation of what the epilogue is going to be. So it was a bit of a surprise this time. I was like, okay, who could possibly be we think is dead or not coming back that Wit could be waiting for? Because I mean, yeah, it was Wit talking about art again to people who do not appreciate what he's talking about. So that's the third time the same. But then it's like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a sweet little scene where he's helping out some of the dispossessed people of Kolinar, which was nice. And then I guess he sort of did meet up with someone who's like, ooh, okay, there's a bit of a surprise in who he's picked up and taking along with him this time, the tiny little cryptic. So yeah, no, it was an interesting little one, not what I was expecting, but it just shows us a bit more of Wit, and I guess this book especially has been showing a much more human side to Hoyd than we've really seen before. Like in the past, like if not outright antagonistic like he was to Kelsier, then he's always just seemed kind of flippant and up to something, but we don't know what. But this book, he's actually been a really nice person and like good to other people. So
It's true.
Yeah.
He's more active than we've ever seen him in Stormlight versus anything else. But yeah, he's
Yeah, but he's specifically taking time out to look after Shallan and then these other people and this little Spren. It's like, oh, like his humanist side is showing.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of, because his appearances in the other ones are generally so small or short, you don't get a lot of his attitude towards stuff. And so it's hard to tell his motivations and things, and we're getting a better idea of that here for sure.
Yeah, the whole what you are in the dark thing.
But also of interest, yeah, we have, he definitely meets someone, and maybe someone that we thought wouldn't come back, because, well, when I don't think it mentions it in the chapter, but Brandon has confirmed that, like, this thing is here because, yeah, it was going to bond Elhokar.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I was like, I don't know if I should save that for predictions or just come out the gate with that one, but yeah, I did have the thought. It's like, given the location, it's like, that's Elhokar's, right?
Yep, and so I guess we could have anticipated that there would have been one around for that moment that Elhokar was having before his death. So
True.
Yeah, a little bit different from the other epilogues, but at the same time, some definite similarities, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a fun little epilogue. I really enjoyed this, and I think it's possibly one of my favorite Wit moments. And I think for me as well, it's like that. I always love, like when you're watching a movie or something like that, and it's setting up to something else. It's that teaser dangling before you, and I felt like this chapter was everything I wanted it to be in that regard. It's like, what is Wit doing? Oh my god, what is Wit doing? I loved that he's sort of starting to say the words. He's picking up our little patterned friend. I loved that, he'd invested the cloth to make the little doll. I was like, oh, there's some investiture there. And there was another one. Was it, I don't know if it was ferrochemy or something. He was storing something. Can't remember what it was. When we get there, I'll get it. But I was like, oh yeah, that's
that you're thinking about.
Health, maybe? Yeah, because he was looking a bit ragged, or like on purpose to disguise himself to get out. But I was like, man, Wit is shaping up to be one of the most invested. Because look, we knew that like he was going around and collecting things. But yeah, wow, that there's a lot of power here. And I feel like if he's gonna, be a Knight Radiant as well, I'm so here for more Wit and Hoyd and whatever's gonna happen. I loved all the interactions with him in this book, and this was just the same. I had no notes. I loved this chapter. It was great.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mention the thing where because it did seem like Ferrochemy-ish, right? Where he's talking about
Mm.
storing, like he's talking about not using his health, basically.
Yeah, it
Because
definitely gave a ring to it. As I was reading it, I was like, is that that? And he's like, oh, maybe. I was like, you either know and you're not telling me, or what's going on? I was like, I should just keep reading the chapter. And then the cloth happened, and I was like, did he just put breath in that? Like, what? And Jack's like, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, all these little bits, and yeah, it was super cool. He's already got his fantastic storytelling abilities. Like, he's just going to be a one-man band.
and I don't know that it has ever come up before, but someone asked Brandon way back in like 2013 when he was doing like one of the Wheel of Time release party for one of the Wheel of Time books that he wrote. They asked him if Hoyd could use Ferrochemy, and he said yes, he can. So yeah, like I said, I don't remember if it's ever come up before, if I've told you guys, but that's something that we've known for so long at this point that I'm like, Brandon said that so long ago. It's possible that he's changed his mind since then, and I was looking to see if he's talked about it more since then. But as far as we know, he is in fact a ferrochemist, so it makes sense that he could be storing that here.
Okay. Yep, I'd buy it. Makes sense to me.
But yeah, we saw that. We saw him, like you said, he's awakening like this little doll.
Awakening,
yes. He's got breaths that he's using for that, and now it seems like he's becoming a light weaver. So what kind of secrets or truths he has that he's going to use for that? I really want to know that.
I mean, they're going to be good, right?
Right? Yeah.
I don't think my brain can even comprehend what he might come up with, but they're going to have to be good. And I really hope it doesn't happen off page. I really, really hope we get to be a part of that. But we'll see.
It does seem like one of the things that could happen off page because so much of his stuff does, right? But I agree that I would really prefer for it not to.
At some point, like, he's going to have to enter the main storyline at some point, and it might not be for a few books or anything, but I feel like you've just got him, if he's just sort of there and comes and goes from our main character's journey all the way through the entire story, I think I'll be sad.
Yeah, I agree. We need him center stage at some point, but you can't do it too soon because he knows so much,
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with Jamie. I think the most interesting parts of this epilogue is kind of the Wit using Hoyd using these powers. I think this is not the first time. I think this is one of the times that I most appreciate the order in which Data decided for us to read these books, right? Because in this one small epilogue, we get to see him use possibly ferrochemy, which I have kind of questions about how that's possible, right? Like, he's not from that bloodline. How exactly does that work that he can use ferrochemy? We get to see, I think he uses allomancy as well, but he says that he senses a life. I feel like maybe that's like a seeker type thing. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Oh, no, there is, if you have so many breaths, you get life sense.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So yeah, that boy's stocking a lot of breath then. But we saw him take a bead of, what's it called? Lerasium. So he probably has allomancy as well.
Yeah, in the letter, one of the letters he wrote, he said that he's protecting the metal as if it was his own skin or something like that. And I think you guys theorized from that he'd probably like used it and become an allomancer.
Yeah. And then yeah, he's got breaths, so he can use that. The interesting thing to me is like he can't really, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he can't really use the Lantrian powers, right? Because he has to be from that world, I guess. Like, I don't know if he somehow
he tried.
Yeah.
At the end of the Elantris book, we saw that he's like, "Oh, I think I did it," and then he wasn't, and the thing made fun of him, like, "Oh yeah, you didn't become an Elantrian."
Right. Maybe if he somehow mastered soul stamps, he could do what what's her name did and make himself Lantrian, but I don't know how useful that would be to him. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that like we've seen him do over the course of all the books we've read to this point that we're like, oh, because I'm thinking if I'd never read Warbreaker, right, and then he makes a doll move and then it says his tunic goes gray, I'd be like, well, we saw that other lady do that in this book, but what is that? Like, I don't know what that is, but I do know what it is. And so I just like really appreciated this epilogue at this specific time for us to read it because I was like, man, look at all this stuff he's doing. That I'm like, hey, I know how he did that. So it's kind of fun to get to read this at this point, right? The only downside to this epilogue is I would say like it it doesn't really progress the story for us besides us knowing like, oh, he took he got Elhokar's cryptic, so now he could be bonding that Spreton. The Lightweaver power, like I felt like he was already kind of doing that with like his music and his storytelling, right? Like he would create visions for people. So I don't really know how that works if he's not already a Lightweaver, but yeah. So I mean, it was a fun little epilogue. Like I said, not really any progression in our story in Stormlight Archive necessarily, but still very interesting. And yeah, the fact that he has played such a larger role in this series is cool to me. I would guess that continues unless this epilogue is like him saying, "Bye, I'm leaving this planet." But I don't know. We'll see when we get there, I guess.
You had an interesting point that I guess the previous two epilogues did have sort of some definite progression for the Stormlight Archive. Like Talon showing up, that's a big thing, although we still haven't seen probably all the ramifications of that because he's,
right,
insane. And then Yasna coming back, it was like that was a big reveal for the Stormlight Archive was, oh, by the way, she's not dead. So
yeah. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that like him getting the cryptic is pretty big, especially if you didn't already know all of the other collecting things Hoyt had been doing, right? So it's like if you read this, you'd be like, "Oh wow, he's got cryptic now."
It's interesting to me that that's the one that he would choose of the orders to try to join, but I think it kind of fits.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like his whole thing is disguises, deception, all that kind of stuff. So to me, it feels like it fits.
Yeah, on brand. Also, what you said about the reading order is I thought I'd mention something that's kind of interesting because Warbreaker, little bits and details and even characters have popped up here in the Stormlight Archive, and Brandon has at times called Warbreaker a prequel to the Stormlight Archive.
That makes sense.
So the more we see, the more that makes sense. Like Nightblood played a pretty big part in the end of that battle that we just read. So
yeah, I guess that's true. I kind of skipped over the Nightblood of it all, but yeah, that's true. There's a lot of Warbreaker stuff in these books.
If you hadn't read Warbreaker and Nightblood showed up when you're used to like Spren becoming swords, so it's not weird to have a magic shard blade that can talk to you, but this is a really weird shard blade if you didn't have that other information.
I feel like it is. I guess to me it would be because by the time we get Nightblood, we know that they don't stay swords all the time if they're alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that would be kind of weird because it'd be like, wait, why is this thing why is it talking but it's not turning into a Spren?
Yeah, that would have been weird there. Although by the end of this book, Adolin is kind of talking to his sword a little bit.
Yeah, but we also know that was a Spren at some point.
Yeah. So it might have been interesting to not have read that and be like, what do you guys think is up with this sword? And get like theories from there. But I feel like it works better the other way around.
Yeah, it works better when I know like, oh man, that thing's crazy. We don't want to trust this thing.
Like Vivenna and Azure, or Vivenna/Azure would be so confusing if you didn't have that other information.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's get into this chapter. So we start the epilogue with Hoyd, as Dak mentioned, he's talking about art again. And as always, his ideas are kind of interesting to me, where he's just like, all great art is hated. It's difficult to make something that nobody hates, but it's easy to make something that nobody loves. And we found out he's in Kholinar. This is weeks after the fall. Presumably he's been here the whole time because this is where we left him, was in Kholinar. And he's in line talking to a guy, and he pokes at him because the guy's not paying attention to him. And he's talking about like art, the greatness of art, how many people have to love it before it's worthwhile, like versus the number of people who hate it. that a thing is hated is not proof that it's great, but the lack of hatred is certainly proof that it is not. Interesting. I mean,
that argument has some merit to it, but I feel like there's probably things that are universally liked.
I was thinking the same thing, and then I was like, but there's always that one person who's like, everybody loves it, and they're like, well, I hate it.
Yeah,
because
but
everybody loves it.
That's like a different thing, right? Like that's not a comment on the art itself. That's a comment on like human behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's always trying to be the naysayer.
I mean, I refused to read Harry Potter for the longest time because it was just popular. And I was like, popular. Forget that. It wasn't until the third movie came out, and my friends, I was in college, and my friends were like, hey, we're going to go see the third movie. You got to come. These are so amazing. And I was like, well, I guess if I'm going to the movie with these girls, then I better read the books first.
Oh boy! And then I remember you made me read like the 6th book in one day so that you could read it, and I was like, "Come on, man!" It was my book, and he was like, "Hurry up and read it." It was like I just got it, and you were like literally every 2 hours be like, "Are you done yet?" I'm like, "It's a long book. Let me read it."
That's hilarious. I have no memory of that at all.
And then you spilled sweet and sour sauce on it.
This story's a fucking roller coaster,
dude. It was quite a day.
Oh my goodness!
It was like a midnight release, and and we went to the university bookstore to get it. And actually, that may be the 7th one we went to the university bookstore for. I can't remember. We went to some bookstore to get it, and I was reading it, but it was late, and I fell asleep, and then I had to read it all. Like, I think I read the first 2 chapters that night, and then I had to read the whole book the next day. Because you kept bothering me to read it.
You just gotta be like, I'll finish it next week. You can wait till then.
No, you would not have been okay with that. You were like, let me read it. I'm gonna read it.
That was not going to happen.
No, that was not gonna happen.
You're like the friend in Ferris Bueller where he's sitting in the car. It's like he'll keep asking me, and until I finish it. So I just should just finish it.
Man, what a roller coaster that book is, though. Probably my favorite. My second favorite in the series.
That is also a roller coaster of a book. Yeah, I read the 7th one in like a night because I got the bootleg that came out before the book release.
Oh yeah, you're a bad person.
Oh
yeah, it's.
I think I read the 7th one. I took my time on that one. I took about 2 weeks to read it.
You wouldn't download a Harry Potter. Well, I mean, you probably would now, but
yeah, I think I'd already pre-ordered it, so it's not like I hadn't bought it. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah. You're the kids in The Devil Wears Prada. They make Meryl Streep's assistant get Anne Hathaway get a advanced copy of the 7th book because her kids want to read it.
I thought you were gonna be like, they're the kids who work at the sweatshop for the
sweatshop
for the Prada or whatever.
For the Prada.
That's where they make Prada stuff, right?
A sweatshop.
It's a very different movie.
Yeah, that would be a different movie.
It's like you
gotta help me run this sweatshop.
What's that Pierce Brosnan Selma Hayek movie?
I didn't see it.
After the Sunset.
I haven't seen that.
They're 2 thieves who have retired to like a tropical island after their big score, and there's like a rotating door of tourists who show up to go vacation on the island. So they're always getting into these conversations, the same conversations over and over. So they come up with interesting things to say when they're like, oh, hey, what do you guys do? And one of the times Pierce Brosnan's like, yeah, I own like a half a dozen sweatshops on like in Vietnam or something. He's like, you should see those kids make those hats.
Oh, no.
Wow.
It's funny.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan.
Anyway, back to the book that we're reading. This big. There
are no sweatshops in Russia that we know of.
Not that we know of.
Yeah. There could be.
There could be.
And Meryl Streep is running them.
Yeah. Turns out Savarial runs a bunch of sweatshops.
I could see Savarial doing that.
We saw a cobbler. It doesn't seem like they do mass production type stuff on Roshar that we've seen, at least.
Well, that was in like a small village. You don't know.
There's a thriving fashion scene.
They probably don't need sweatshops because they have freaking soulcasters.
Yeah. Can you just like get a picture of an outfit and then soulcast something into that? I feel like that would be too difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, who wants to turn slowly into clothes?
That would be awkward, yeah.
Ooh,
So he starts insulting this guy, Hoyd does, that he's talking to. Your face defies description, but only because it nauseates all the poets.
Oh, God.
You are what parents use to frighten children into obedience.
That one's extra mean.
That is
I mean,
incredibly
look,
harsh.
I know why he was doing it now, but at the time I was like, Hoyd, this is very mean.
Calm down, my dude.
You
Yeah,
do you.
He's doing his wit thing, but like these aren't royalty. They don't get it.
They don't want to talk to you. They've
No.
made that very clear.
Theologians
Other
use
shit going
you
on.
as proof that God exists because such hideousness can only be intentional. Like
God
that's
damn.
that's a long.
Oh, I like that one.
But and then the guy doesn't respond and he pokes him and he realizes, oh, you only speak Thalen. Great. Since repeating all of that in Thalen would be monotonous, he just cut in front of the guy and then the guy punched him in the face. Cutting in line, not cool.
No, very not.
So and it knocks one of his teeth out and he's like, ha, success. I'm glad you appreciated my performance art accomplished by cutting in front of you.
That's the ultimate. Meant to do that.
Yeah, he did mean to do that. So
He says.
and so he's apparently just working on a disguise for himself. He took something, he says, to make his hair fall out. He's lost a tooth. He's got his clothes all dirty. He starts to wipe the dirt off. He's like, wait, no, I worked hard to get that dirt and that dust in place. But it's time to leave, because if Race learned that Wit was in the city, he would order his forces to level it, and would consider that a cheap price for even the slimmest chance of ending him. So I think we already knew Race and Hoyd did not get along, but he don't play. And he goes to talk to this lady, or there's a lady and her husband, and she's like sitting there rocking an empty cradle with haunted eyes, which is just real sad.
Yeah.
He asks the husband, like, should I put an eye out? Oh, sorry, the woman. And then she looks at him and he's like, ah, so she was listening. Okay. And says, wait here. And then he goes and finds a building that has fallen in, and there's a little girl who smiles at him and says, your teeth look funny today.
Plaque is no joke, little lady.
Yeah, this is why you brush.
Yeah. It's the cavity creeps.
And he tries to get her to come out, and she says, I can't leave Mama. And so he made a little doll out of rags and some cord, earlier it says. And then he says, the answer to the question has been bothering me for some time. And she says, the question? I asked it earlier. You couldn't hear. Do you know the answer? And she's like, you're weird. He's right answer, but wrong question. And he tells her that I need to leave the city and I can't take her with me, referring to the doll. Someone needs to take care of her. And then when she reaches for it, she's like, oh, she's afraid of the dark. You have to keep her in the light. And the little girl's hand vanishes and she's like, I can't leave Mama. He's like, oh, that's too bad. And then he whispers something to the doll and he sets it down and it starts walking all on its own. And she's like, oh, this little 4-year-old girl finally comes out and runs to the doll, and his coat has turned gray now. And he carries the girl to this lady who lost her baby. And he says, I need to leave the city and someone needs to take care of her. And before he leaves, he touches the doll and he goes, forget what I told you before. Instead, take care of her. So we don't know what he told her before, what he told the doll before. But it's probably something like, let her take care of you, I feel like, based on the way he says that. But this is a super sweet moment. I don't know that we've seen him go out of his way to be nice to people before, but like this is a long way.
Yeah, this is more than we've seen from him.
He's even, I guess, giving up breaths here because presumably he leaves them in the doll.
Yeah. That's a lot of breath.
Yeah. We know the better you are at it, the more you can do with less breath. So maybe he's just super good and he didn't use that much, but who knows? And then he goes to the palace where the fused and we saw, I almost said Morlock for some reason. We saw Moash helping like break down the walls of the palace, essentially.
Oh God, it's the Morlocks. They've come.
And so he gets there and yeah, they're ripping the palace apart, but not like the whole thing, just clearing out a bunch of the walls. And he has to get in there, which is why he's dolled himself up as like not just a beggar, but a really ragged one. And so they just kind of shove him out of the way and he looks all frightened. And then he gets to a certain little crack in the wall and he whispers like, look, you don't have a lot of choices right now. I know you'd rather have someone else, but this is not the time to be picky. I'm certain now the reason I'm in the city is to find you. It's either go with me now or wait it out and get captured. But I will give you truths and I know some juicy ones.
I know all the dirt.
I mean, he probably knows a lot. A little pattern slips out and over his hand and onto the rags that he's wearing. And just as the guards kick him out of there, he walks away and whispers, life before death, little one. And that is the end of the book.
Oh, chills.
Ooh, right? Like, when I first read this, I
Totally.
was not expecting him to become a Radiant. So,
No.
fun little twist. The end note is a poem, a ketek, written by Yasna on the occasion of Shallan's wedding, which they gave us when we went to the World Hopper Ball that was Shallan and Adolin's wedding. They gave us goblets. Let me see if I can find one.
That's cool.
These big glass goblets with this poem written in women's script around the rim.
Fancy.
I didn't realize that's what was written there. I spent some time after getting it home translating the words around the edge, and I posted it in because they were discussing it in one of the discords that I'm in. So it was hard as hell to see because it's very tiny, and then you have to translate it. But I put it in there, and they're like, "Yeah, that's pretty much right. It's the poem at the end of the Oathbringer." And I was like, "Ah, damn it! All that time wasted."
You wasted time translating something that was already known.
Yep, I could have just gone to the end of Oathbringer and had the text and the translation right there.
Is all the titles of the parts of the book.
It is indeed the title. The parts have always been a ketek, the titles, but yeah, this one is this specific one, so that's cool. And then the Ars Arcanum has a couple interesting things. We've talked about how the numbers are all based on heralds, so you can see like number 1 is Jez or Yez for Yezrian, Non for Nail, Nalan, Shanarok, I don't remember what Vev is, Palaya, Shash for Shalash, or Ash as they were calling her. Kak is Kalak, Tanat 9 is Telenalot, and Ishi is Ishar is 10. And they're each connected with a gemstone, and the gemstones are each connected to soul casting properties, so you can see which gemstones create which things in soul casting. So there's all sorts of interesting stuff that you can glean from the chart, but the 10 surges, we've talked about those before, but the list is in there. Different kinds of fabrials we've also talked about before. I'm just seeing if there's anything particularly new since the last book that we'd want to. There's some stuff on light weaving and soul casting, and the soul casting stuff, some of that is interesting. I think that's new here, but I believe this has relevance to the discoveries being made on Scadrial and the commoditization of allomancy and feruchemy. Which, since we've seen, if we had read this before Era 2, that probably wouldn't make any sense, but now we've seen on Scadrial how they can create like the medallions that give you powers, or the unkeyed metal mines that let you, that kind of thing. So I think that's what she's talking about. But yeah, that is the end of that book. So we have wrapped up 3 of the 5 existing Stormlight books. It has been quite a trek, y'all. So we will do a brief predicaments segment. Do you guys, based on like the big news is, hey, Hoyd is joining the Lightweaver Order essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of predicaments you could come up with from that, but what do you guys think? Where are we going from here?
Part of me desperately hopes it, and even though it's probably not realistic, but I hope that by getting Elikar's Spren, that Hoyd just admits, oh, that boy wasn't too bad. Or, the boy had promise or something. But that probably won't ever happen. But yeah, it's like the truths that he will use, they'll either be massive earth-shattering things that we won't learn about for books and books and books about the Adonalcium situation, or they'll just be incredibly petty stuff like Racy's actually just a bit of a dick.
Yeah. What a good truth that would be, though, right?
I mean, it's fairly unshakable. Everyone's like, "Yep, that's a good truth."
This hangs together, yeah.
Not exactly breaking though.
Maybe.
Well, and Shallan's truths are all like stuff that she has to come to terms with for herself.
Yeah.
I wonder what he might have that's like that.
He's like, I'm a bit of a bastard.
Odium exists because of me.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that would be dramatic.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Just don't know enough about him and his role in everything.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Maybe the hard thing he'll have to come to terms with is like, I always did like Adolin. Never want to admit it, but
I would love that actually. Yeah, no, I'm on board with this.
Yep.
That even more than that, he's like, man, that Adolin's dreamy.
That's what he. Yep. He's.
I never wanted to admit this to myself, but
he is dreamy.
Look, I don't really have anything to add. I don't think from last time. I guess if Wit is now going to be a light weaver as well, I just imagine that his storytelling is going to just be this epic thing now. Definitely way he could use that. No idea what truths he would be speaking to.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
He could tell some really intense stories if he could, because we even saw Shalon like light weave up some really amazing pictures to go with her story, and he could already do a little bit, like he showed Kaladin images in the smoke or whatever. So yeah, he could do a lot with that.
Yeah. I got nothing else.
Fair. We didn't give you that much else to work with, so it's okay.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if this is more of Hoyd collector thing, like I said, this epilogue almost seemed like a goodbye from him in several ways. So I wonder if he's leaving the planet, and maybe we're not going to see him in the next 2 books, or at least maybe not the next one. Data already let us know there's kind of a time skip between the books, so he may leave and come back. But yeah, this I don't know. In several ways, this felt like a goodbye. He got a power from the planet, right? And we know like that's kind of been his MO for a while. It's like get this power, and then go be somewhere else. There's obviously still a lot of mystery surrounding him, what his driving forces are, what his motivations are, and also whatever this power is that he has, it's basically like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. Let me be somewhere else. And so I'd be interested to know, kind of what drives that power, if it is actually a power and not just like some kind of mysterious character trait. But yeah, there's not a lot to pick apart here, except to say I'm going to stick with my possible predicament that maybe we won't see him for the next couple of books, at least not as heavily involved as he has been.
That could be interesting. We've never seen Spren anywhere else, so I'm actually curious if now that he's like connected to a Spren, can that Spren leave? Could Radiant start popping up elsewhere, or the Spren are all native to Roshar? Can he not take it with him if he leaves?
Well, but we know they also just exist in the other realm, right? So like
Shadesmar, yeah.
So if he can, I mean, we know that they can use Shadesmar to travel to other planets, or at least they could at some point.
True.
So, I mean, yeah, I really don't know. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it could be possible. I don't know if like the investiture tied to Roshar or whatever, because we don't really know. Like we know Odium has Spren, and I guess Honor had Spren. But also apparently Spren can reproduce on their own, so like I feel like I don't really know enough to make that call yet. But like I would say like maybe they can't manifest as shard blades, but they can exist on other planets. Maybe they just don't have any powers. I don't know.
Oh, that could be interesting, yeah. There's just so much about Spren that we still do not know.
Yeah. I mean, I would say what you're saying makes sense, right? Because if Vasher could have just brought a Spren to his world, why would he need to make Nightblood? So I mean, what you're saying makes sense. Like it doesn't make a ton of sense for them to be able to just take their Spren to other planets and use them there. But I don't know.
But also, as I was reading through quotes just now about Hoyd potentially having feruchemy, Brandon hinted that his ability to know where he needs to be, even if he doesn't know why, may be a feruchemical thing.
Okay, we know they can store luck, so could it be a luck thing? Or
Yeah, fortune, right? Yeah, maybe.
Because that kind of makes sense. Like, again, going back to Harry Potter, that's how Felix Felicis worked. Like, he took it because he needed to get an objective done, and they're like, "Go this way." He's like, "Nah, something feels right about going outside. I'm gonna go outside."
Yeah, that's true. That would be kind of similar.
I was like, I think that was one of my favorite parts of that book, where all his friends are like, "No, you're supposed to do this thing," and he's like, "No, I got a good feeling about this. I'm gonna go outside."
The Felix Felicis part was pretty well written. I love how even like the tiny detail of like touching Ginny as he walked through the portrait like led to what he wanted to come out of that.
So that's kind of messed up, actually. But hey, it worked out for him.
Yeah, everybody, it worked out for the best. I assume Dean Thomas hooked up with someone else later. It's fine.
I assume he hooked up with somebody.
He probably didn't spend the rest of his life pining after Ginny, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he could have,
I mean,
he might have died. I don't even know.
Well,
he might have died in
went on
Battle
the
of
run.
Hogwarts. So
I know he was on the run for like half the book.
That's true.
yeah,
he was.
I think he shows up before the battle, though.
Yeah, he shows up because like him and Seamus hug and whatever when he gets there.
Yeah.
Now I have to look at it's unknown what Dean's life was like following
It's
the final battle.
unknown what his life was like. Yeah, I would say so.
He may have attended
Anyway.
the reunion of Dumbledore's army in 2014. I guess, yeah. Of all the
Indicates he
things that they
survived.
talked about, yeah, that does seem to hint that. Yeah,
This is a Sanderson podcast. Let's not do a deep dive on old Dean Thomas.
Good old Dean.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that is our predicaments. Let's move into any overall thoughts now that we finished this book, or even for the first 3 books of the Stormlight Archive.
I stand by what I've said previously. This is my favorite of the Stormlight books we have read thus far. I've really liked it. It feels like more of an arc was completed by the end of this book, not just within the context of, because obviously you need the first 2 books to set up a lot of its arcs, but yeah, I don't know. Like even in this book where we started, where we finished, it felt very complete. I liked where we went with the characters. I like that we just saw more of Roshar with the main characters. It's not just everything's on the Shattered Plains or Shattered Plains and Urithiru. It's like, okay, we're actually seeing a lot of the world with them now. It's not just randomly cutting away to random people. I really loved, just from a writing perspective, the fact that this book, unlike the other 2, the flashback chapters were woven into the narrative. It wasn't just randomly cutting back to a previous part of Dalinar's life. We were experiencing those memories as he was remembering them. And I thought that was such a cool little touch. So I really liked how, they were unfolding to us effectively in real time with how Dalinar was seeing them. So I thought that's a hard thing to pull off with flashbacks, and it worked. So it made it more invested in the narrative. There were times in this book where I'm just like, oh, okay, I feel like we need to get on with things a bit more. But I think that's just the nature of the size of the books. I appreciate the fact that because these books are so massive, there was sort of like, there were effectively 2 standalones in this book. The end of part 3 and the end of part 5 both had their own. So I think that just paced it out a bit better for the way we're doing it. We didn't spend like 25 weeks waiting to get to the Sanderlanche. There was enough going on in the middle of the book as well. Not that the others didn't, but like this one just felt like there was more going on to keep us engaged week to week, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, and you're right that the fall of Kholinar is kind of a big, like, I think we only spend about a part building up to it, but it still, like, was very impactful feeling and had that intense, like, quick pacing and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of like another Sanderlanche, you're right.
Yeah, so yes, my favorite of the Stormlight books. Don't know how I'd stack it against the rest of the Cosmere, but I closed the book feeling really good about this one.
I like what you said about and I know we've talked about it before, but about the flashbacks feeling so integrated because of the way they were done. And I don't know before this read that I had like twigged to or thought about it quite like that. But you're right that it is very cool, and nothing against the flashbacks in the other books because it's not something that you could have done with those.
No, and
but
like
still very cool.
Yeah, and like nothing I say is meant to take away from Way of Kings or Words of Radiance. They're both excellent books, but this one was just that much more satisfying for me.
Fair.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite out of the 3 Stormlight books we've read so far. I do feel like we got more of a complete story. You kind of get to the end of the other books, and I realize it's part of a series, and there's always going to be things that kind of hang over. But I really like when it tidies some things up, and you've got all these things that have been peppered throughout the stories, and then it's addressed at the end, or at least it's going somewhere. I don't feel like anything really got dropped off. Like I was so worried throughout the book that they were never going to come back to the fact that Adolin killed Sadeas. And I am really happy that we still addressed it, even though it's not like the situation's not necessarily over. There are still, potential ramifications for what he did, and definitely complexities and some challenges for Dalinar and Adolin to work through there. The stuff going on with Shallan, with her multiple personas, it's not like they're finished, but I feel like at least everything has been considered and addressed, and that felt really, really neat. Also, just generally the pace of the book, I do feel like in some of the books there's been a lot of, okay, there's not really a lot happening here. It's a lot of background, and you understand there's always going to be a part of the book that really sets all that up, and there's the politics in the background and how's this going to work. But Dak's right with that piece going to Kholinar. I expected us to spend like a lot more time on the Kholinar storyline than we actually did in the end, and I felt like there wasn't. I don't recall really any parts in this story that I was like, oh man, that real dragged on. That was there's probably some things that maybe could have happened a little bit quicker, but I understand why they didn't. I liked it. It was good. It was really good. I'm really excited to get into the next book when we get there and keep the storyline going. It's kind of cool because you're going, I have no idea what we're walking into now. We've kind of been amping up, and then it's like, boom, okay. What we were leading up to, like that's it. I don't know. I don't know the next step. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I like it. A little adventure.
Yeah, it's definitely I see what you mean, like a where do we go from here thing, because we've hit the major stuff that we knew was coming. Now we're just kind of like in a war, I guess, and who knows where it's going to go from here.
I'm going to be echoing a lot of what Dak and Jamie have said. This is my favorite book in the Stormlight archive we've read so far. I went back and looked at what I'd rated the last two books. I actually rated them the same, which I'd forgotten. I rated Way of Kings and Words of Radiance both an 8 out of 10. And I would agree with a lot of what Dak and Jamie said. The pacing in this book was better than it has been, right? I think that was one of my biggest problems with the previous two books, was the pacing, and the flashbacks were better integrated into this story than the last two books, which was my other major problem, I feel like, for the last two books. So all around, I would say that this book was written better. The only thing I would say is, I'm going to say a negative thing and then I'm going to say something really positive. The only negative thing I would say is the difficult thing for me in this book was finding, and I'm coming at this strictly from a perspective of like book reading literature in general, right? It was hard for me to find what the theme of this book was. It was hard for me to place if there was an overall feeling or theme or emotion that Brandon wanted us to experience when we're reading this book. And maybe you guys can kind of give some input and tell me what you think it was. If I had to pick something, it would almost be like, it would almost be like sometimes a person is called upon to do something that's much larger than them, and they don't know if they have the capacity within themselves to accomplish it. And some people are able to accomplish it despite those feelings, and some people are not there yet, or they're falling short, right? Because I feel like we saw that several times in the book. Shallan had a lot of trouble internally kind of digesting what was going on with her. She needed outside help with that, whether it be Adolin or other people around her. Kaladin basically like tried to get to a point, and because of his like emotional turmoil, he kind of failed, right? Because he's kind of stuck in this spiraling cycle of like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, and he can't. And I think there's a sense of control that he feels like he has to have over his life that like he couldn't have if he said whatever the next set of words are, right? He's giving up something. He doesn't know that he can do it, right? Really, if that's where we what the theme was, then I'd say cool. Great. It was a little hard to discern for me what the overall theme was. But then the thing that I really loved about this book, I talked mostly about it last week, was at the end of the book, you have this sense of like it's a happy ending, but also there's this like edge to that like you're kind of standing on a cliff of that happy ending, or where it's like, well, the story's not over, and what do we do now, right? And I know that's kind of like I'm not trying to be like artsy fartsy or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I really dig that. I really dig that moment of like, we get this happy ending, but because it's not the end of the story, what do we do now? What's going to happen now? And there's this real uncertainty about like the future and what that holds. And even with the epilogue with Wit, it's like we don't know what's happening with him. To me, like I said earlier, it felt like a goodbye. Like maybe he's not going to be around. But at the same time, it's like we don't know what's happening. And I know a big part of our show is making predictions. But like it's been very difficult in this Stormlight series to do that because there's so much story, there's so much left untold. It's like it's really hard to nail down like where are we going, and that's a positive and a negative thing, right? But anyway, I say all that to say my overall rating of the book is going to be higher than the last two books because a lot of the issues that I had with the last books of the series, they're kind of patched and fixed in this one. It's definitely my favorite one that we've read so far of all the books that we've read. I know we're right in the jammed in the middle of the story, right? So like this book is almost perfect, but because it's not the end of the story, I feel like it's not a perfect book, but it's very close. And so I rated the last two books an 8. I'm going to give this one a 9, which I know I'm not giving myself very much room for the next two books in the series, but I feel like it deserves it. I feel like this book was really, really good. Really solid all the way around. Has tons of emotional beats, has tons of great story. The pacing was good. The flashbacks were a better, more, I feel like, integrated part of the story because those flashbacks like literally push Dalinar's story all the way to that point of Odium being there and him like being able to stand up and be like, no, I'm gonna keep my pain. You can't have that. Like everything kind of worked together to make the story in this book, and so I'm giving it a lot of praise here because I really enjoyed it, and I think it deserves a 9. It probably would deserve a little bit higher, but again, it's not a perfect book, and I I can't bring myself to give this like 10, and then the next 2 books are even better, and then like, oh, what do I do?
Fair.
So but yeah, no, I really enjoyed this book. So Joe's official rating for Oathbringer is 9 out of 10.
I have to go like collect these at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't. Do you guys, Dak or Jamie? Did you feel like you latched onto a theme for the book, like Joe was asking?
Yeah, the goal was like, you will make mistakes in your past. Sometimes they will be like horrific mistakes, and they don't define you. You can become a better person, but you can't just ignore them and try and be a better person by ignoring them. Like you need to acknowledge your failures and rise above them rather than just stuff them in the back. Because like all the characters were doing that. Everyone who Dalinar's obviously the big one because he's done some horrific things, and he says to Odium at the end, it's like, no, they are mine, and I will acknowledge them, but I can still overcome. Sure, he's got a long way to go to overcome everything bad that he did, but still. Whereas Amaram, like, is the flip side of that. Like, he couldn't stomach the awful things that he's done, so he tried to ignore them and tell himself he was a good person anyway. Elhokar, he dillied and dallied, and if he'd said his words a bit sooner, maybe his mistakes from the past wouldn't have literally come out of the shadows and stabbed him in the heart.
Fair.
Shallan was having her breakdown because of mistakes that she made, and Wit told her straight up, it's like, remember your pain, but don't let it overtake you. Like, you can overcome it. Kaladin's moping a bit because he's got his own hang-ups, his own failures, which he's struggling to get past. So like pretty much all the characters in this book, they have failures in their past that they are struggling to overcome or struggling to accept. So that's what I took away from it all, especially because like Odium is like, his whole deal was literally just like, it's not your fault, it was me. And the characters, and to defeat him, like the characters literally have to say, no, I did those things.
That was very well put, Dak. I appreciate that. That makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
Oh boy, I get to go after those 2. Okay. Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing for me it was taking responsibility and accountability for yourself and your actions and your past and how you move forward through that and be a better person. Obviously, we can see Dalinar working through that kind of in real time, but you've got Kaladin, you've got Shallan. They've obviously got big things in their past. Adolin and Sadeas, like he's got that in there too. Teft, even in the background, like it's almost like all of these characters have got something to overcome. You've now got Rock, who's going to have to, make peace with he's done something that he's not comfortable with, and taking responsibility, and I guess just owning your actions. So yeah, huge part of the book for almost everybody, I think. Venli, we got even a bit of that from her as well.
I hadn't even thought of how Venli fit into that, but that's a good point.
Yeah, you guys are making some really good points. I love it.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about how everyone else kind of fits in, like, because it's clear that for Dalinar's story, at least, that is definitely the theme that we're getting. I hadn't considered how other people also fit into that same thing. In my mind, the whole series is more like each of them has their own arc that they're going through, and they have their own specific struggles that they're facing, and so like each book is a section of that, and maybe focuses more on one than the others. But I never thought about the individual books and the themes of them before. It was always more about the character journey. But so that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, no, good call on Venli. I hadn't thought of that, but she made some big fuck ups in the past.
Yeah.
She sure did.
All right, well, let's move on to our Radiant quiz that we're doing, and I'll walk us through. I'm pretty sure it should be the same order for everyone, and we'll talk. People can talk about why they pick what they pick or whatever. Let me bring it up here, and you guys.
Now,
let me
is
know
this
that
what
you
we
have it up.
feel, or can I ask you for assistance in determining what
I feel like it should be what you feel, probably, but I'm not going
Okay.
to stop you from asking for opinions.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a bunch of these. And so we will go through the first one. And for anyone who hasn't taken it and isn't bothering to take it with us, each one is two presumed opposites, and you're supposed to put where your slider fits on them. So, for instance, the first one is heart on sleeve versus poker face. And so, like, which one do you feel? And so, I'll go first on this one just to start everything off. But personally, I think I'm a little more poker face than heart on sleeve for sure.
I would agree with that.
So I'm gonna put like 30-70 on that.
30-70
for heart on sleeve, 30-70 for poker face. That's me. I don't know. What about you guys?
Have you already taken this though, right, Dan? Are you using the same stats?
I don't remember what I've put previously, so I might get something new today. Who knows?
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
I assume that I think today roughly the way I think other days, but we'll find out.
Right.
I feel like I am more heart on sleeve, but like there are times when I like think, okay, I had a good poker face that time, but I got to consciously think about it, so I'm going to go 75-25 on that one.
Yeah, I'm going 80% heart on sleeve, because even when I think I'm, hiding how I'm feeling, everyone can see it on my face.
That's fine.
I have a tell. There's like a wrinkle.
Oh, you have a tell?
They're like,
Okay.
Jamie's angry. I have a tell.
So-
Yep.
Play poker with Jamie. Got it.
Yeah. This is difficult because for me, because Joe in his private life with his friends is very hard on sleeve, but Joe at work's very poker face. So it's a difficult thing.
That could be 50-50. Half one life, half the other.
What I'm gonna do, because I would say I'm closer to hard on sleeve, is I'm gonna do 70% hard on sleeve, 30% poker face.
The next one is confident versus needs reassurance, and I feel like I am 50-50 on that. I'm leaving mine right in the middle.
I'm gonna go 60-40, like reassurance over confidence.
I think I'm pretty confident. I'm gonna go 70% confidence.
Nice.
I think I'm a little more confident than I am needed reassurance. I'm gonna go 55-45.
Okay. Let's see. The next one is cautious versus daring. Oh man, that one's tough for me. So I feel like I'm gonna leave that one in the middle too, because I really
Yeah, he's gonna leave everything in the middle, and the quiz is gonna be like, "You're not a radiant."
Yeah.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Well, no, it's actually the opposite problem with this one for me, because I'm like coming up with these examples of being daring, but at the same time, like, but all of these examples where I'd rather be cautious. So I feel like it's right. If both.
That's funny.
I'm gonna go 60-40 again, cautious over daring.
Yeah, me too. 60% cautious.
I think I'm gonna go 60% daring. I think I'm slightly more daring than I am cautious.
The next one is easy for me. It's library versus dojo, and I'm going 95% library. Leave a little bit for the dojo, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do the same. That one's a no-brainer.
I don't know. Probably more library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm more library too, but I do like to be active. I'm gonna just move it slightly. I'm gonna go 60% library, 40% dojo.
Okay. The next one is wolf pack versus lone wolf. And I feel like I'm definitely more lone wolf, but maybe not like I'm going like 67% lone wolf.
I'm gonna go 60-40 because I feel like I love time with all my people and stuff like that, but then I love going to the movies by myself, and it's like most of my favorite video games are single player, so it involves a lot of alone time in those.
I used to be one of these people who could not, like in college around then, could not go to the movies by myself, and then I think Serenity may have been the first time that I had tickets to go with some people, but I was so excited for the movie Serenity that I skipped class and went earlier in the day by myself, and then again later that day, and. Yeah. That was like the first time. Then after that, it wasn't such a big deal, and so I'm very happy to go to movies by myself now. And I talked to some people at work who's like, "Oh no, I can never go to the movies by myself." I'm like, "Dude, live it up a little bit." He's like, "I really want to see this movie, but no one wants to go with me." I'm like, "Just enjoy yourself, dude." No one's gonna look at you and stuff.
Yeah, I like going to movies by myself too. It's a more like internal experience. It's like I get to kind of internalize everything as opposed to like, I love it. I love it even better when there's like nobody in the theater but me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, those are the best. Those are special. I remember most of the movies I've done where it's just like me and I'm the only one in there. It's like this is my private screening. Hellboy 2, 127 hours. There's a couple more.
That's a rough one to watch by yourself. 127 hours.
It was great because when it happened, like I could make whatever noise I wanted, and
You're
no
like,
one would judge.
oh,
True.
oh
Yeah.
no.
I think I'm going 75% Wolfpack on this one. I definitely think I prefer being social, but I can appreciate some alone time. Like when you need it, you need it. But
Yeah.
if I was to have my way, I would be with people probably.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's another tough one for me because work Joe likes working with a team, but regular Joe, personal Joe likes a lot of recharge alone time. So I'm gonna say 65. No, 60% Lone Wolf.
Okay. The next one is Peacemaker versus Firebrand, and this is another
Oh,
one where
Jesus.
I'm like, it's not a lack of evidence. It's more like there are lots of times when I'm like being Peacemaker, and lots of times where I'm being Firebrand. I feel like so. I'm gonna stay maybe not 100%. I think I'm just gonna go a little tiny bit. I'm gonna go like 55% Peacemaker.
I think I'm gonna go 70% Peacemaker, 30% Firebrand for that one.
Mm.
Side note: Peacemaker, the comic character, cannot stand him. Total douchebag.
I thought season 1 of the Peacemaker show was pretty good. Season 2, not as much.
Didn't bother watching it. Hate the character, hate the actor. Not bothering.
Fair enough.
60% Peacemaker.
Yeah, I would say I'm closer on the Firebrand side, but not much. I'm gonna go 55% Firebrand. No, I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna go 60.
Okay. The next one is Spiritual versus Skeptical. And that's another
Ooh.
one that I'm not going to have too much trouble with. I'm going to go like 73% Skeptical.
73?
Yep. Just because
picks
I was
weird
going to go
numbers.
75 and then I left it off early and I was like, 73 works. I'll stay there.
Okay.
He's the guy that's
Man,
like, it's actually 71.5.
Man, I struggle. I struggle not having the volume on the TV on like a divisible by 5 number.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Dak. I gotta have it 5. It either has to be an even number or a divisible by
Even
5.
numbers or fives.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
What
But
is
then
that?
it sucks when the perfect number is 11.
Yeah,
It's
when
the worst.
Yeah. What is that? Is that like an OCD thing with people? Like,
It feels a
We're
little
all
bit
OCD.
OCD. Yeah, maybe. I got a little OCD stuff too, but I want the volume on where it sounds good. I don't care what the number says. The number is completely arbitrary.
that's funny.
See, I'll tell myself it's okay. I'll tell myself it's fine, and then it'll get too loud. I was like, see, I should have gone with 10, not 11.
I think I'm gonna go 75 skeptical, 25 spiritual. No, 80-20. Sorry, 80-20.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm going 60% skeptical, I think.
I'm gonna stay right in the middle. I think I'm pretty equally. I feel like I balance my spiritual feelings with healthy skepticism. I feel like I'm pretty balanced in that aspect of life.
I don't know what in my brain like skeptical is like science. Like that has to be you have to be skeptical of things to
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
scientific
Like I believe
method,
in science.
So I could see why you all right. The next one is leader versus facilitator, which is another one where I think I'm leaving myself right in the middle because I could see both.
See, this is what I'd want other people's opinion on, right? Because like I don't know if I'm a leader or a facilitator.
I 100% going facilitator on this one. I've had many things in my life where it's like I'm trying to be a leader and it's like just no one responds to it. And I'm just like, there's like some inherent thing about being a leader which I just don't have. And
I've been there, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go 80-20. There are like some things I've done stuff for, but it's been with a specific crowd. So I think I have to go very firmly facilitator.
About 50-50. I think naturally I am a leader. I definitely in the workplace I am a leader, but I'm definitely like leaning more towards a facilitator these days. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit right in the middle.
Yeah.
Jamie's got some personal growth happening. Interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Jamie. It's like it's like at work sometimes you have to be a leader, right? Because you got to step up and you got a job to do and you want the job done right. But at the same time, I feel like as I've grown older, I'm more willing to be a facilitator and let somebody else take the lead because it's like they're passionate about it, right? If there's something I'm passionate about, I'm going to be the leader. But if it's just a goal that needs to be met and I can see somebody has more passion, I'm much more willing to facilitate. I think as I've gotten older, I think being a facilitator in general, and I'm not saying if somebody's like, I'm a born leader, that they're not mature or not wise, but I think being a facilitator is a sign of maturity, of like being like, you know what, I'm gonna let you go and do. I'm happy to support you in that. So I'm gonna go 60. I'm gonna be weird like Data. I'm gonna go 62% facilitator.
Let's see. The next one is guard dog versus alley cat.
I don't know what that means.
What the fuck?
I
have no idea what that means.
If I'm thinking closely about it, guard dog is like homebody and alley cat is like going around places. But I'm not thinking that
Eating out of
closely about
trash?
it. I'm just taking it as cat versus dog, and I'm going 80% alley cat versus 20% guard dog. I'm a cat person.
See, I don't know. The fact that it says guard almost makes me think it's like somebody who's like a protector and somebody who's like, just do whatever.
Protective, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
Yeah, I think the same. So I might go 75 guard dog, 25 alley cat. Best guess.
Yeah, I just clicked a spot. I'm 79% guard dog.
Nice.
I'm going 75%. I'm with Dak. I'm going 75% guard dog.
Bunch of dogs in the house. Okay.
Bunch of savages in this town.
The next one is compassionate versus dispassionate.
Ooh.
And I definitely feel like I relate more to the latter. I'm going to go 70. Yeah, 70% dispassionate, I think, versus 30.
I think I'm more compassionate, but I don't know what percentage. Probably not less than 75. So yeah, I'll just click randomly and see what number comes up. 68.
68.
I'm going to go with 72% compassionate, I think.
Okay.
This is a tough one for me again because it's like work versus regular life. I think I'm gonna go slightly more compassionate. I'm gonna do 65% compassionate.
Nice. The next one is heart versus head, and I'm going 80% head. I feel like that is definitely more me than heart as a rule.
I'm gonna go. What's that? 64-36 in favor of heart. I'm gonna go with that.
I cannot tell you how many discussions where I've had, emotional Jamie versus rational Jamie. I'm going to say 50-50 because I think as both. I have my own Shallan moment where I have the two separate Jamies come out and like argue with each other, and then I pick one. I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe 60% heart. I feel I'm probably slightly more emotionally driven than. Yeah, we'll go 60 heart.
If you're going the Shallan route, I feel like you now need to name these two other Jamies.
Oh no!
Oh man. Okay, let me think about it.
Don't go down that road, Jamie. Don't go down that road. Oh, again, it's like work Joe versus personal Joe. It's pretty different. I feel like I'm up in the head space at work and the heart space at home. So, but I feel like I'm generally more of a heart guy. So I'm gonna go 60% heart.
Okay. The next one is flamboyant versus reserved. And while it may surprise people who only hear on the podcast, where I kind of by nature have to be doing a lot of the talking, I'm like 85% reserved. Flamboyant is not a word people use to describe it.
I would agree.
So part of me says, "Oh, I'm reserved," and then I remember I've got way too many Godzilla-themed Hawaiian shirts for that. So
that's
awesome.
Exactly what I thought about.
This is fun that you guys are doing this together because it's like you get to react to each other. It's awesome.
All right, so I guess I'll go.
I've got way too many Godzilla Hawaiian shirts.
I feel like you're fairly flamboyant in your style.
Yeah.
Like you like what you like, and that's good. But I would say as like a personality, I don't see you as like, maybe you do need to be a bit more on the flamboyant side. You're not really a reserved person. You can be reserved, but
yeah, but like just regular chatting, I'll just like blurt out whatever. It's like flamboyant may not be the most word, but just like I don't want to say extroverted, but just like I mean the people on the podcast know I don't shut the hell up, so
that's a good thing though. Yeah, Dak, you and I probably cut from similar cloth here. I can imagine you.
Joe also has lots of Godzilla Hawaiian shirts.
No, but when you're with your and you correct me if I'm wrong, Dak. When you're with your people, you're all about it.
Fuck
But
yeah.
but when you're not, you're probably a little more. You're pretty reserved.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm most reserved. Yeah, again, most reserved at work, and even then, sometimes I'm just like, well, you needed to tone that down a bit.
Yeah, sometimes it dehumanizes people. Like I've had the same issue at work where people are like, "Are you just like a machine?" I'm like, no, man. But like, I'm here to do a job.
Yep. I put 71-29.
I think I need help on this one. I don't know. I feel like I can be very reserved, but I can also be very outgoing. And I don't know. Dak, you gotta choose this one for me.
Oh, jeez, no pressure.
60-40?
I could see you at a 60-40 for flamboyant.
Yeah.
60-40, yeah. Again, I'm not sure
Okay.
flamboyant is the right word for what they're going
No,
for
I
here.
know.
Yeah, it's not a great word. I'm gonna go 65 flamboyant because I feel like when I'm with my people, I'm all about it. But I have quite a bit of reserved in me as well.
Okay. The next one is letter of the law versus spirit of the law. And this is, I could not possibly decide between the two. I feel like they're both important. I'm going to go 50-50.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
They are both very important, but there are times I'm just like the spirit of the law probably is more. So I'm just gonna go 55-45 on this one.
Towards spirit.
Towards spirit.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm
No,
probably
I'm
not
gonna
making
sit in the middle.
skybreakers.
No, I'm going to sit in the middle. Yeah, they are both really important.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go a little bit towards more letter of the law because I do like rules. But yeah, I think it's pretty. They're both very important.
Yeah, the important part of this question is there is always a law. It's just how.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like guidelines. I guess I should say. Like letter of the law feels more like you have a set of guidelines that you're following. I like those.
Like the pirate code.
Right, but not so much that I'm like, well, we should really pay more attention. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I got you. The next one is free-spirited versus disciplined. And I can't choose on this one for me. I think I'm going to leave this one at 50-50. I feel like I'm doing that a lot, but I'm just like, I can see both ways. I think I'm leaving it in the middle.
I feel like you're pretty disciplined. If you're asking me, which you didn't, but I'm going to say anyway, I would feel like you're slightly more disciplined.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll put a little bit towards disciplined.
Yeah. I'm going to go 60-40 for disciplined.
Yeah, I'm going 62% disciplined.
Yeah, I'm going to go 60% disciplined.
See, and the next one is obedient versus rebellious, which I feel like is almost saying a similar thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
except that the words do not, like, if I'm sitting here thinking about the definitions, I feel like deep down they're the same, but the words trigger different things in me because I don't like people telling me what to do.
Right, I was about to say, there's a difference, right? Free-spirited versus disciplined, it's like from within yourself. Obedient versus rebellious is like a submissive thing, right?
That's true.
No, that's a better way of putting it.
I think I'm going 65% rebellious, personally.
I think I'll go 60-40 obedient. No, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Dak. I think I'm more on the obedient side.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave myself right in the middle. I feel like there are times I'm pretty evenly submissive, and then I also know okay, I'm not doing what you just said. So I feel like I'm pretty confident that I'm about right in the middle.
The next one is creative versus conventional. And this one I feel strongly about being in the middle because I like if something if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you have to problem solve, I feel like I'm very in the creative realm of problem solving. So I feel like I'm both of these things here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm similar. I think I might lean a bit more towards creative over conventional, so I'm going to go 55-45.
Yeah, I'm going to lean a lot more towards creative. I'm going to go 75 creative. I think I do agree with the if it ain't broke, don't fix. I definitely apply that at work, but I do a serious amount of outside the box thinking. Can we improve something? Can we make it better?
Well, and you're the baker in the room, and you've got a lot of creativity going on
Yeah.
there. So yeah, I could totally see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go lean slightly more toward creative. I'm gonna go 57% creative.
Okay. The next one is dependable versus flexible, and I feel like these should not be opposites.
No.
It's
And
weird
this
to
is
me.
the thing about these things that give me anxiety, right?
Yeah.
These quizzes. I did say last week, and I don't think it was on the recording, I had to do one of these for work, and it was to work out like my my strengths. There's like 34 strengths that we do. And it was like it was decisiveness. And I had to swing the toggle on decisiveness, and the thing timed out. I was like, okay, now you're judging me because I couldn't choose.
That does feel very judgy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I want a chance to go back and do this thing. I mean, it all turned out, and they gave me my results, and I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense about who I am as a person. But these things, I'm like, oh, what do you do when they don't match? You stay in the middle and hope for the best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this one's really bad. Dependable versus flexible are not close to being opposites, in my opinion.
I feel like I'm very dependable and also very flexible. I'm not going to lean towards one or the other. I'm staying in the middle on that.
I'm gonna go 60-40. Just like I like to think I am flexible, but there are times I'm just like, but you're asking like where you need me to flex here is not possible, or it's not reasonable. So I'd rather go dependable in that regard.
Yeah.
I would agree with you for you on that one, Dak. I'm going to sit in the middle, I think. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go slightly more dependable. I think I'm 55%. Again, I think we all agreed these are not opposites, so it's like it's hard to say. But I'm gonna say I'm slightly more dependable than flexible.
Jamie, the decisiveness one is coming up, so you can start planning for it now.
I read ahead. It's just decisive versus indecisive. So.
Well, thankfully, I've already answered that question before.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is down to earth versus head in the clouds. And I'm going to put myself a little bit, not like a whole lot more down to earth. I'm going to say like 60% down to earth. So 60-40.
I'm going to put 60-40 head in the clouds. Because even there, just knowing it's like there are so many times I'm just like, I should be focusing on like work or whatever right now. But in my head, I'm just planning, what can I do next for X-Men? Or what video game should I play? So.
Fair.
I don't have time to have my head in the clouds. I'm down to earth. I'm going to go 80% down to earth.
I think I'm slightly more head in the clouds, but not much. I feel like I'm pretty down to earth as well. I'm going to go 57% head in the clouds, 43% down to earth.
The next one is think outside the box versus color inside the lines, which once again I feel is similar to the one before it, but weirdly I think I think I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to do 60-40 again, but I'm more outside the box than inside the lines. I'm not sure exactly why I feel like that, but I do feel like that.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm trying to get rid of my OCD here. I've been purposely not doing multiples of 5 or even numbers.
Good job.
60-40 outside the box.
Overall, I think, I'm definitely a think outside the box person. But I just had this thought of, is this the letter of the law or the spirit of the law? Is it the letters of what's written or the spirit of what's written? Because I definitely don't color outside the lines. You've got to color inside the lines all the time. It's set out this way to be a thing, but no, I get the sentiment. I get the spirit of it. I'm going to go outside the box, probably 75. No, 79, because that's right.
I do like to color inside the lines, but yeah, I think I'm more of a think outside the box kind of person. I'm going to go 65% think outside the box.
The next one is tense versus relaxed, which is another one that's hard for me because I'm generally very relaxed, but at the same time, like
when the tension hits.
Well, and yeah, I feel like I worry and plan more than some other people. I'm gonna, because I'm not gonna be decisive enough on this one. I'm gonna leave it in the middle again.
Let's go a bit lower than that. Yeah, there we go. 65-35 for relaxed. Like I can get tense, but I feel like default I tend to be more relaxed. And I spend a lot of my time striving to get back to that if I'm not relaxed.
What did you go? What was your score, Jack? Did you 60? Did you say?
65-35.
65-35. Okay, I'm going to go 65-35 in the opposite direction.
You guys balance each other
definitely
perfectly. Yeah.
a more tense individual. I like to be relaxed, but getting too relaxed is very difficult for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go 60. It's slightly higher than 60%. I'm going to say 62% relaxed. I feel like I can relax pretty easily, let things kind of go, and then like focus on them again when I need to.
Nice. The next one, here's the one for Jamie. Decisive versus indecisive. And this one's a weird one for me because a lot of times when other people have trouble, like a decision needs to be made and nobody wants to, like everyone's having trouble making, I can be there. Like I can be easily very decisive. But for everything else where it's not super integral that we make a decision right now, I'm just like, I don't care enough to be decisive about it. So I'm once again sitting in the middle on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 70% decisive versus 30% indecisive for this one. I think that fits.
I'm kind of with Data on this one. Like, if you need someone to stand up and make the decision, we're all floundering and the stakes are high, and someone has to step in and do something. I think that's when my leadership takes over, and I'm like, yes, okay, I'm going to make a decision. This is why, I'll defend my decision, and we're good. But generally speaking, the amount of times in my life I have to be like, we could do this, or we could do this, and Dad goes, we're going to do this. I'm like, okay, no worries. So I'm going on the indecisive direction. Oh, now the percentage, I don't know, 70% indecisive.
Hey, we got opposite again.
Hmm.
There you go.
I'd say I'm a fairly decisive person. I do agree with Data a little bit. Like when the decision doesn't need to be made, I'm like, let's think about that later. But when it comes time to make the decision, I'm like, no, this is what we're doing.
So what number did you come up with?
Oh, sorry, 76%. I put because I think it's slightly higher than 75%.
Likes change versus likes stability is the next one. And
Oh,
I feel like I'm going to lean towards like stability, but not like terribly far, like 60, 65. I think maybe I'll go 60.
I'm gonna go. What's that? 83. Like stability versus over likes change. I just want to get myself into a nice little rut and just like enjoy being in that rut.
I always thought I was a person who didn't like change, but I think as I'm getting older, I like change where it's for the better. So I'm gonna sit in the middle. I'm gonna stay 50-50 because I like things to be, if it's functioning well and you keep it stable, yeah, don't fix what ain't broke. But I don't want to just sit stable and not make any changes ever. I feel like I would get really bored. So I'm gonna sit 50-50.
No?
I feel like I'm slightly more into stability, especially like at home. I do like change at work because it shakes things up and it's more fun sometimes to work in that environment. But I like stability at home, so I'm going to say 55 stability.
The next one is planner versus spontaneous. And I don't know why, but my first thought here is vacations. And so I was like, I don't mind doing something crazy and fun and spontaneous on a vacation, but given the choice, I would much rather have it planned out and know where I'm going to be and when and ahead of time. So I'm going to go 70, 75. I think I'm just going to go 70% planner because I can enjoy spontaneous. I'll 70-30.
Yeah, I much prefer having a plan. Like I can do spontaneity and it's fine, but only in like certain situations. For the most part, like just general day-to-day stuff, especially. I'm just like, no, I just want my plan, so then I don't have to spend as much time worrying about the spontaneous stuff because I feel like I just worry about, oh, we still need to figure this out, we need to do this later, and it's like I don't want to spend my time worrying about such things, so I'd rather have a plan. So 83-17.
Oh, that's higher than I thought you would go planner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And well, so I'm going to say 80% planner for me, but now I'm thinking maybe it should be higher. I don't know. We're both pretty planned people. We've got
Yeah.
the calendars and all the. I don't know.
Mm.
I'll stick 80. I'm just going to stick with 80%. I wish I was more spontaneous, but that gives me anxiety. So planner it is.
I like having a plan at work, but in my regular life, I really do love spontaneity. This has been a discussion that I've had with my wife because she likes to plan everything, and so sometimes to her chagrin, she plans most of the vacations, and then I just go and have the experience, which I apologize for to her because I feel like, oh, I'm not really helping, am I? I'm just enjoying it. So, but based on that, I'm going to go 67% spontaneous.
Okay. The next one is ends justify the means versus honorable actions. And I feel like it's not very Stormlight, but if I'm pushing myself to pick one, I think I'm going to go a little bit more ends justify. I'm going to go like 60-40 ends justify the means.
Yeah, it's like my gut says, like honorable is best, right? But there's a reason there's the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So Yeah, I might go. What's that? 59 ends justify, 41 honorable actions.
Nice.
I think it really depends on the stakes, doesn't it?
For sure.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think the higher the stakes, the more honourable you need to be. I don't know. I'm going to sit more on the honourable side. I think maybe I'm going to go 60-40.
I'm gonna take a hard line on this one. I'm gonna go 80% honorable actions. I feel like
Ooh.
the
Yeah.
ends can justify the means, but to me, and like James said, obviously the stakes are important. But to me, it's much more important to be honorable than just to say, well, I had to get to this place, so I had to do what I had to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's very journey before destination is the honorable actions more side. So I think you got some Stormlight going. The next one is playful versus serious, and once again, I'm going to sit right in the middle. I feel like I can do both, and I regularly do. So I'm just going to not pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 75 playful, 25% serious. I did things like I do try to be serious a lot, and then the thing is like every listener of the show is gonna be like, "That is a load of bullshit," and you know it. I can barely
Between
let
that
any
and your
conversation
Godzilla
go.
shirts.
Yeah. It's like I can barely let any conversation go by without making some smart remark. I really need to get better at that.
I wish I was more playful, but I think I'm slightly on the more serious side. 60-40.
Again, this is like work Joe is very serious and personal Joe is very playful, both sides to his detriment sometimes. So I'm gonna sit right in the middle because I feel like those two halves of my life really pull kind of polar opposite.
The next one is interesting to me. Tells the truth versus bends the truth. And I'm definitely not I'm not like, oh, I'm just lying. I'm out there lying all the time for no reason. But at the same time, I do feel like that being able to lie is a valuable life skill for an adult to have because sometimes it needs to be done, I think. So I'm sitting in the middle. I'm going 50-50 again, which I feel like just makes me seem like a bad person, but what do I know?
It doesn't make you seem like a bad person.
Yeah, I'm definitely more in the telling the truth, and and that has gotten me into trouble in the past. But I guess maybe that's a flaw of mine, but I should probably stand by it. So I'm gonna go 74-26.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same. 75% tells the truth. It's not always what people want to hear or anything, but I think it's better.
Yeah, it's like we're not saying like bending the truth isn't important, but on the whole,
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Here's the thing. I've told some whoppers in my time, some big lies, but I feel like I know that telling the truth is more important. So I'm gonna go slightly that way. I think Data's correct. I think being able to bend the truth is an important skill for an adult in certain situations. And so I'm gonna go 50. I'm gonna go 60% tells the truth, 40% bends the truth. Because I feel like the majority of the time I tell the truth.
Okay. The next one is likes to take things apart versus if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I definitely see an interest in taking things apart can be very interesting, but I'm certainly more towards if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as much as I do have an interest in knowing how things work. So I'm going to go like 60-40 towards if it ain't broke.
I'm gonna go 72 if it ain't broke. Actually, no. Sorry, let's go that a bit higher. 79. There we go.
I'm going 68 if it ain't broke.
I'm not good at taking things apart. When I take them apart, I screw it up. So I'm gonna stay 80%. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I probably also do. If I was literally taking something apart, I probably would screw it up. But I do like knowing how things work. So,
Yeah, I mean that's a little different, right? So like poking holes in things and like if you were to say, do you mentally take things apart like ideas? I do that a lot. So maybe I'll bring myself down because if we're talking about in all aspects of life, I'm gonna go 75% if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I do like to poke holes in things, kind of take them apart, and really like evaluate them. So, but for the majority of my life, I like things that work and work correctly.
Next is hotel versus camping. And while I was a Boy Scout and I did enjoy camping to some degree in my youth, we did lots of interesting stuff. As a 40-year-old man, now I am 95% hotel for sure.
I am in the same boat. I was a scout growing up, and I did plenty of camping, and it's like that's fine back then. Now I'm just at the point. It's like camping's just like more work, You know, you got to set everything up. You got to pack it all down. You got to make sure everything's clean. You got to hike in. You got to hike out. And I was like, I'm just not about that anymore. So, 89 hotel.
I have not been camping since I was a kid, but I feel like I would like to go camping, but like a powered site. I don't want to have to go where there are no bathrooms. Like I don't want to go proper camping, you know. So I'm going to go 80% hotel. But if you could get me a powered site with a bathroom somewhere close by, then I would consider camping.
I think all the guys are in similar boats. I was also a scout. I did my fair share of camping. I'm done with it. I'm gonna go. You know, if somebody was like, "Hey, let's go camping," I would go. So I'll go 75% hotel, 25% camping.
Yeah, we put the young ones in Cub Scouts, and they're like, "Oh, we want to go camping," and like, okay, maybe at some point I will take you guys with these other people.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if the kids say they want to camp, it's like maybe I'll do it, but it's like it's going to be a hard sell for me these days.
That's why I have the little sliver of 5%. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe test them out in the backyard, see how they do, because they
Yes,
may
that was
get
the
there and be
idea.
like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. So the next one is fencing versus boxing, and in my brain, there's two ways to look at this. Fencing is in my mind is more strategic and planning, whereas boxing is kind of like instinctual in the moment. Kind of, I don't know if that's true. That's just in my mind. But there's also fencing is kind of there's not physical immediate danger in fencing, whereas boxing you get the shit kicked out of you. And either of those ways of looking at it, I am 100% fencing versus boxing. I don't need somebody punching me in the face.
I mean, I agree with everything you've said, but I'm going to add the counterpoint that fencing has a fucking sword, so 90% fencing.
That just makes it even cooler, in my opinion. Like, it's better.
I clicked on 91. Oh, I'll take it.
There should be a button that's like, neither. Neither option. So I'm going to just go sit in the middle. I don't want to do either.
Fair.
If I'm looking literally at this, I fenced in college. I actually won the tournament in my course. So I like fencing a lot. But if I'm looking at it from more perspective of like, metaphor, I'm going to go not so quite as high on fencing. I'm going to do 75% fencing versus 25% boxing. I feel like I've got pretty good instincts and instinctual, get yourself out of danger thoughts. But I do like to fence. It was very fun. And yeah, there is a good amount of strategy to it. There's a lot of, and boxing has this too, but there's a lot with fencing. There's a lot of like learning the technique, and boxing has a ton of technique as well. But fencing, the technique is very specific, whereas boxing, I feel like it's a little more fluid.
Fencing is finesse.
Yeah, it's fun.
I've actually always wanted to take fencing lessons. They're like a place opened in town that did fencing lessons for a while, and I didn't want to go by myself to that. And a friend also expressed interest, and so I kept trying to get her to go, and she was like, "Yeah, maybe later." And so we never.
Yeah, the guy who opened that actually was the instructor at college where I went, and he's a very nice man, but he lost his job at the university, so he left.
The next one is artistic versus scientific, and I feel like I'm a good deal more scientific personally, so I'm going to go 75-25.
Yeah, I'm going to go 83 artistic. Like, not that I dislike scientific, but I'm just like, I know I'm not dumb enough. I'm not smart enough for a lot of what they get into. And like most of my interests lie in the artistic, so I feel comfortable with this.
Fair.
Look, I am willing to be talked into otherwise, but I'm going to sit in the middle. I have a science degree, and I make cakes, and I paint, and I do a whole bunch of other stuff. So I don't know, both. I'm both.
That definitely sounds like in the middle to me. Yeah.
You're a balanced person. I'm going to go 62% artistic, 38% scientific. I like science a lot, but I feel like personally in my soul, deep down, I'm more of an artistic person.
The next one is book smart versus street smart. And I feel like I'm going to go 80% book smart.
Yeah, I'm going to go about this. I got 78 book smart. I am street smart enough to know I should stay off the streets.
There you go. Yeah. I'm from A Street.
Yeah, I'm going to go 60-40 book smarts.
I'm going to go 60-40 book smart as well. I feel like I use my street smarts quite a bit, but I enjoyed the books.
Oh, we're down to the last three here. The next one is Paladin versus Rogue. Personally, I feel slightly more akin to a rogue than a paladin. I'm gonna go 60-40. No, I'm gonna 65-35.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 33 rogue. Even though I enjoy playing roguish characters in D&D more, but like personally, I feel like I'm probably more of a paladin.
Yeah, I don't see myself being particularly roguish. I'm gonna go 70% paladin.
I'm also going 70% paladin for the same reason. I'm not really a rogue. I'm not really the roguish type.
Second to last one, the penultimate question: competitive versus casual.
Oh, this is fucking easy.
I like both of these things, but I think I'm gonna go a little more competitive. I'm gonna say like 60-40 competitive for me.
89 casual, 11% competitive. I just enjoy the casual stuff way more than competitive. It's like, man, why does everything need to be a competition? Why don't we just have fun?
Okay.
What's that Marge Simpson quote? It's like oh, like all the dogs are like they're all very fast. Can't we just bet that they'll have a good time? When she's greyhound, like betting on the greyhound races. Crickets. Nope, no on that one.
No, hold on.
Sorry.
I'm trying to pull up the quote actually because
I was trying to focus on how my rating for myself. Sorry.
I was the kid who wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up, so I have very little to comment on.
Yeah, she's betting on horses, and she says, "I don't know who to vote for. Can't I just bet that all the horses have a fun time?"
Yeah, there we go.
That's classic.
I'm gonna go 75% casual. I don't mind a little bit of healthy competition, but by nature, it's not who I am.
You look at how many board games we have and card games that are like competitive and how much are casual, and then look at the ones we play the most.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like competition for me is like something that I catch, right? Like if there people around me are pretty competitive, then I get in on that spirit. But I feel like the majority of the time, I'm just there to have a good time. I don't care that much. I feel like I was a lot more competitive as a kid, and now that I've I'm a grown, I'm just like, does it really matter who wins? So I'm gonna go 65% casual and 35% competitive.
We've been working to teach the kids that. Like, they get very upset when they lose a game, and we're like, "Come on, guys, it's."
Yeah, I feel like that's just part of youth. It's like
Yeah.
I want to win.
The last one is transparency versus need to know, and this is
Ooh.
one like, in principle, I believe transparency, but I
Mhm.
get need to know at the same time. I'm like, I understand I'm gonna sit in the middle on this one.
Yeah, I am gonna do the same. It's like as much as I believe in, oh, hang on, I had that whole telling the truth. Actually, no, I'll go slightly more transparency. Just let's go 60-40 on this one. But it's like, yeah, for like idealistically transparency, pragmatically need to know.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Actually,
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go 67% transparency. I think if I can share it when I have it's not going to be the detriment to anybody else or something, I will share it. I think it's a really important thing that you know why you're doing something or have all that information available to you. But yeah, absolutely, I definitely use need to know. You can't swing one way completely.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 55% need to know. I feel like I play things pretty close to the vest, even with people that are close to me sometimes. But for the most part, well, I guess for the most part, I'm gonna need to know. But a great deal of the time, I'm transparent as well.
All right, once we're done, hit the button that says "Say the words."
Are we doing it now?
Yeah, it'll pop up your order, but I want you to scroll down a little bit, and there's like after the first couple paragraphs, there's a line that says "Read more about the whatever here," and then click that because that'll bring up the slightly more information, and we'll use that. So let's go down the line. Everybody could read their own thing out loud, and then talk about how much you think it fits you and stuff like that. So I got Else Caller, which is what I've gotten every time I've taken the quiz.
What percentage are you?
I am Else Caller 79%. The next closest one is Truth Watcher at 74%. And all the way down to Bondsmith at 42%. So I guess I'm the least Bondsmithy. But Else Caller says, I will reach my potential. Else Caller oaths are like those of the Lightweavers or Skybreakers themed towards the individual. In this case, the theme is progress, becoming better with each oath, seeking to explore their true potential and reach it. Because of this, the order is open to many different types, so long as they want to improve themselves. Thoughtful, Careful and cautious, the Elf Scholars are generally regarded as the wisest of the Radiants. They seek self-improvement and personal betterment in their lives, but aren't limited to one scope or one specific theme or set of ideals. This makes them one of the most open and welcoming of orders, though they do tend to attract those who are less flamboyant. They have their share of scholars, and often a large number of theologians, but also attract those who are interested in leadership. They're good at encouraging others, but some are known to set their sights upon things they want and then seize them. In the Knights Radiant, they tend to be among the best tacticians and are logistical geniuses, aided in part by their ability to create food and water for armies, but also their ability to move in and out of Shadesmar. So that's mine. I don't know if it's just because this is the one I get every time, but in my mind, Elscaller, or maybe it's the fact that Yasna is the Elscaller that we know. I've always felt like this is like the Ravenclaw of Ninth Radiant orders.
Yeah.
Because Yasna has a very Ravenclaw feel to me. And since I'm also a Ravenclaw, this makes perfect sense for me personally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So I got Edge Dancer, which I was not expecting. I got 74% Edge Dancer. Next was like Windrunner to 71, Truth Watcher 68. My lowest was Dustbringer at 40%. So
Interesting.
yeah, and like I would like to note that there is definitely one order here which you've never heard of called the Will Shapers. I got them 54, like towards the bottoms, but in the middle. I swear we've never heard that name before. The rest of these order names sound familiar, but that one doesn't.
I bet you if I go back towards Radiance, it was one of those things that was mentioned once in a
Gotcha.
in an epigraph.
Fair
Hold
enough.
on, I'm going to look real quick. Will
Yeah,
Shaper.
but-
Yes, it was mentioned like 2 times.
Yeah, okay. Edge Dancers. Edge Dancer oaths themed around remembering the ordinary people of the world, those who aren't powerful generals or radiants. Too often the actions of the powerful have terrible effects on the people with no voice, and the Edge Dancers consider it their solemn duty to remember that the people are the ones they truly serve. Edge Dancers are known as being caring and graceful. Among the Knights Radiant, they see it as their duty to care for the people and are often less interested in war than they are about trying to improve the daily lives of the common folk. Often, a mid-sized town would have an Edge Dancer or 2 on permanent assignment, where they use regrowth to provide healing and would work for the common good of the town. Edge Dancers tend to be among the more religious of Radiants and are the order where you're most likely to find former religious leaders who end up bonding a spren. During wartime, they often act as the mobile medics, eschewing actual combat to heal or pull out the wounded or those trapped in terrible situations. However, there are some renowned for their graceful and skilled prowess in combat, occasionally used as scouts or special forces troops in conjunction with a team of Windrunners or Skybreakers. One should never assume the Edge Dancers are in any way base just because they often ignore high society. They are renowned as some of the most refined and graceful of Radiants. So, neat. I can just zip around and glide everywhere. That's pretty cool.
You and Lift.
You know what? Thinking about it, I can 100% see similarities between myself and Lift. Big hearts and never shut the fuck up.
It's just funny how little some of this seems to fit Lift, like the most refined and graceful of Radiants. And
Yeah, exactly. I think she's the exception, not the rule, right?
Much like you, Jack, refined and graceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm happy with that. That's cool. Not what I was expecting, but I'll take it.
Okay.
I also got Edge Dancer.
Wow.
Oh.
Given how you guys went opposite on some of those, I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's
So you don't
interesting.
you don't have to read it again, but what do you think about how the description fits you?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think there's definitely things that you see and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And some things you go, oh, okay, maybe not. Yeah, I guess it's not probably where I would have put myself. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where I would have put myself. But like caring for the common people, less interested in war. Yeah, that sounds like me.
Okay.
What was your percentage, Jamie?
It was my whole thing shot itself, and I had to just re-put my numbers in, which was super fun. 81% Edge Dancer,
Wow.
77% Windrunner, 66% Bondsmith.
So your second one, Windrunner, was also pretty close.
Yeah.
We'll touch a little bit on the other ones. We won't read through the whole thing after Joe goes, but I know you can think about it if you think that one fits you better when we get there.
See, like you had Bondsmith third. My Bondsmith came in 5th for me. I had Truth Watcher and Lightweaver between them.
I've got Truth Watcher and Lightweaver. 65%. Bondsmith was 66. So it's like they're close.
Oh, okay. It's pretty tight.
Will Shaper 64, Stoneward 64, Skybreaker 63, Elsecaller 61, Dustbringer 54.
Dustbringer's on the bottom again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was second to bottom on mine too. I guess none of us so far are very Dustbringery.
All my percentage points are actually like there's only a 22% spread from my top to bottom, so it's pretty tight. And but I'm a Windrunner, 79%.
Whee!
And then my second was Edge Dancer at 73%. And then
Yeah, right.
and then Lightweaver, and then my bottom one was Elsecaller.
Interesting.
And then my second bottom was like Bondsmith and Dustbringer just above that. Skybreaker was right in the middle, which I find interesting. But anyway, let me read this. It's the shortest one, I think, only because, we know a lot about Windrunners, right?
Yeah, true.
So it says Windrunner oaths are themed toward protection, particularly defending innocents or those who are unable to protect themselves. Windrunners tend to attract big sibling types who seek to protect the defenseless, but also enjoy action and fighting for what they believe in. They're primarily scouts, so they often work as special forces groups, able to deliver teams of radiants behind enemy lines for secret missions. They tend to be the most like conventional soldiers, believing in structures of command, team dynamics, and the importance of a squad of brothers and sisters. They often have larger numbers of squires than other orders and focus more than any other order on mastering their weapons.
Interesting. How do you feel like this?
I feel like it describes me in some ways and doesn't in others.
Hmm.
I feel like the 79 to 73% on Edge Dancer, I feel like I have a lot of Edge Dancer characteristics as well. And so I feel like it's pretty accurate.
Okay. This is actually, I thought we would be short this episode and maybe we do a lot of emails, but we're
Running long. Yeah.
running a little long. So I'm going to hit some of these other ones, just a couple of details so that you guys get an idea about some of the other orders. And then I don't think we'll do any emails today. I think we may have one new patron, so we should do that. But
Okay.
other than that, this is how we'll finish it up. So the Skybreakers, we've seen some of that. Some interesting notes in here, though. The Skybreakers were the enforcers of the Knights Radiant, often tasked with keeping the peace, policing the other orders, and making certain that dangerous or dark forces in the world were contained. So there's also a note at the bottom. Note that the current incarnation of the order, led by the Herald Nail in his madness, is more rigid than the ancient order, which understood that the law was not perfect, but instead represented an ideal to try to reach over time. So what we see today isn't necessarily an example or a perfect example of what they used to be. Also, it notes they had the tough job sometimes of making sure the other orders didn't abuse their power or become tyrants. The Dustbringers, it says, I will seek self-mastery. Dustbringer oaths were themed towards responsibility and learning to understand the powers they used needed to be properly channeled, much as their own desires and wills needed proper form and shape. As Dustbringers moved through their oaths, they were taught greater powers of destruction and are one of the only orders where their abilities weren't all available at the beginning, but instead delivered slowly as they made the proper oaths. So Dustbringers, lots of destruction there, but also like learning responsibility at the same time.
Spider-Man.
They believed great power requires a strong will to control it. Often attracted tinkerers who like to dig it down into the shape and soul of things, break it, and see what makes it work.
I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds really nasty, but I feel like that's not quite, maybe shouldn't be as I don't know.
We only know one so far, and she's a little bit scary, so...
Yeah.
In the Knights Radiant, they tend to act as the equivalent of artillery in a modern army. If you want a large swath of land destroyed or burned, you call in the Dustbringers. However, they were also often used as sappers, engineers, and strategists. So, kind of interesting. Truth Watchers, their thing says, I will seek the truth. Their oaths are themed around seeking to find ultimate truth and sharing it. They're very concerned with knowledge and the proper exploitation of it. This should not be confused with Lightweavers, whose oaths are themed towards personal truths. Truth Watchers are more concerned with the fundamental truths of the universe. The Truth Watchers tended to be those who hold the knowledge and secrets of surge bindings, and are often the ones to discover many of the newer advances in things like Fabrial technology. So that's kind of interesting. Lightweaver, we've seen a lot of Shalon, but it says Lightweaver oaths are an oddity, perhaps because their spren tend to be the oddest among all Radiant spren.
Burn.
Yeah, right. Personal truths, we know that. They range widely in personality, from quiet and introspective painters to outgoing and gregarious stage performers with everything in between. They tend to love art, though there are some who are interested in intrigue, secrets, and espionage. They are the spies of the Knights Radiant and often untrusted by others, such as the Stoic Skybreakers, for their love of subterfuge. They have a reputation of having looser morals than the other orders, but they are quick to point out that their personal values are strong. Tend to be free spirits, and among their order see the importance of entertainment, beauty, and art in a person's life, making sure that the world doesn't just live through the desolations, because mere survival is not enough unless there's something to live for. So that's an interesting approach to Shalon, I feel like. Will Shapers, their thing is, I will seek freedom. The Will Shapers believe strongly that all people should be free to make their own choices. Their oaths are themed towards freedom and letting people be free to express themselves in their own way. So yeah, that's the one that we've seen or heard probably the least about, as Dak pointed out. Before or in the wake of desolations, they would teach people things like sanitation, bronze working, and other essentials. Anywhere you find someone resisting tyranny or oppression, you will often find a Will Shaper cheering them on. Like it says, cheering them on, not helping them fight tyranny or oppression, but like, hey, you go. The Stone Wards. Their thing is, I will be there when I'm needed. Their oaths focus on team dynamics, learning to work with others, and on being there for those who need them. They put the interest of others before their own and will not bend their ideals for the sake of convenience. Stonewards are the infantry and ground troops of the Radiance and are renowned as their finest soldiers, a title that on occasion the Windrunners dispute. They tend to attract those who are more interested in warfare, prowess, and weapons, or athletics of any sort. They like a challenge, and in times of peace are seen engaging in various sporting events or running them, of both a military and non-military nature. They like the outdoors. Maybe I'm seeing why none of us got that. Though sometimes gregarious, they are never flighty. If a Stoneward is your friend, they will be there for you. That is the core tenet of their order, to be there when they are needed. They are not known as inventors or creators, but they are good at improvising solutions to problems in the moment. And then the Bondsmiths are a weird one, focused on unity, unification, and bringing things together. It's a loose theme because there's only 3 Bondsmiths, and they tend to be very different from each other because of the 3 spren that they bond to. Even the surges that they share with others tend to work differently for the Bondsmiths. Just basically what it's saying is everything about the Bondsmith is a little bit weird and different.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah, right. They work to resolve disputes and help set up functioning governments. Even though there could only be 3 full members, they did at times take squires. Beyond that, many of the retinues that protected the Bondsmiths were considered members of the order, going so far as to swear oaths, even though they didn't have a spren and never would. Some even called this the most pure form of being a Radiant, because these were oaths sworn not in the name of gaining powers, but for the good of the oaths themselves. Generally considered the heart and soul of the Radiants, the most respected and high and protected of the orders, capable of doing incredible things. So there's a little look at the ones that none of us landed on, but there we go. We took the quiz. I thought it was really interesting that Dak and Jamie got the same thing. That was neat. But we have a bunch of emails, but we will go ahead and save those for a little bit longer because we're running a little late today. We did have one new patron that I want to hit before we head out. Hold on, that's not the list of patrons. Our new patron is Kicknick, Kiknik, at the ska level.
All right, Kicknick, you are a skimmer.
Ooh, like wax. Nice. If you want Joe to assign you a faring power, you can join our Patreon, where I'm still putting up my reactions as I read through Isles of the Emberdark for the first time. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in hearing my stuff about those. If you'd like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. If you leave us a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice and email that to us, Joe will assign you a misting power as well. So you can get both of those. You can become a Twinborn. So you can also find us on Instagram and Blue Sky. And I should mention, because it will have come out weeks before this, that I recently did a guest spot on Cosmere Chronicles, another first-time reader podcast. They do like a guest one time a book, and they asked me to come on, and it was a lot of fun. They may hate me after this because I think when I'm not hosting and trying to direct the conversation, I might get a little bit silly because
how's it feel?
Yeah, well, the record went for like 4 hours. And I feel like I did a lot of sitting back and like making jokes, and so they probably hate me now, and they're like, "Man, why did we invite that guy?" But I had a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, check out. They're in the middle of reading The Way of Kings, and I don't think they've read anything so far that we haven't. So you should be safe if you're listening to us and are caught up with us to go over and listen to that episode of The Way of Kings. We did the last 3 chapters of part 2. So check that out if you're interested in hearing what I sound like on another show. I'm sure you don't hear enough of me here. So, but yeah.
Or they get a different aspect of you, and they'll finally know where I get all my bad joke telling.
They stole they copped to it completely, but they stole our idea of doing 1-star reviews, and they've done them for like every book so far, a 1-star review episode, and they tend to be kind of fun as well.
Nice.
And they have a cool thing that they do before they start a new book. They look at the book covers, like from different countries, and they try to predict what the book will be about from looking at the different covers.
Oh, that's cool.
It is a lot of fun, and I was like, man, I wish I'd thought of that. That's a great idea. One of the guys hates with a passion all of the UK covers, which is most of what Dak and Jamie have, is the white books with like the single kind of color thing. But it's fun. So check out their show.
It looks nice and uniform on the shelf.
Well, yeah. I think it looks beautiful on y'all's shelf, except for like the one or two that you guys ended up with different sizes. But these things happen.
Wind and Truth is grey.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's taller, and instead of white, it's grey, but the font and colors and everything still match.
Maybe that's supposed to be, like significant thematically. It's like, look how different this one is.
We're getting into the dark shit now.
Could be.
The gray shit.
Yeah, we haven't had enough shades of gray in Stormlight for sure. So, yeah, check that out if you guys are interested. Send us emails, check out Patreon, whatever. For next time, we decided last time we were going to do Tress of the Emerald Sea before we got into the next Stormlight book. And in thinking about it, I decided instead of doing Dawn Shard first, we'll do Tress. So we're going to do Tress and then Dawn Shard and then Rhythm of War. So for next time, we're reading chapters 1 through 7 of Tress of the Emerald Sea. So a decent little chunk of that book. It cuts out to 9 episodes total. So that's how long we'll be in Tress. It should be close to 10% per episode that we get. So some nice big chunks compared to Stormlight, where it's like 3% of the book an episode. It takes a while. So if you're reading along, 7 chapters for next time, pull out your Tress of the Emerald Sea and read along with us. Music by Miracle of Sound and Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo? Yes, Fasher. Crabs ahoy!
Coronas wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.